Hi everyone, you're watching the main course brought to you by The Lion's Share. I'm Chef Melissa and I'm here to help you create yummy meals that are hearty and healthy for your loved ones. Let's take a look at what we're going to need for tonight to make our southern skillet. First thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to rinse the potatoes. You're going to have 4 to 5 potatoes set aside for your southern skillet. Just give them a nice healthy rinse. First, we're going to peel our potatoes. Next, we're going to cut our potatoes. I cut the potato in half. In half again. And then I like to cut them down just a little smaller. You don't want to make them too small because then when you go to cook them, they break down relatively quickly and they get a little mushy. Now we're going to chop our onions. Okay, so next we're going to cut the sausage into bite-sized pieces. Once it's removed from the package, I usually do 2 at a time just to save some time. Small, bite-sized pieces. And again, they're not going to be pretty. It's raw sausage. But it's going to be beautiful once it's done, and it's going to taste amazing. And I would suggest a very sharp knife for doing this. A trick you can do as well, it will take a little longer for it to cook, but a trick that you can do as well is when you go to slice your sausage, if you take it while it's still partially frozen and you slice it then, it'll slice a lot easier. And then you can cover it, put it in the refrigerator, and you can let it thaw the rest of the way. It just makes it a little bit easier for you when you go to cut it. After handling raw meat, it's always a must that you wash your hands. Nice hot water, a good soap. I like the antibacterial soaps are my favorite. Give them a good wash, give them a good rinse. Also make sure that you get underneath your nails. So our next step is to start adding all of these ingredients to your pan. We're going to get the pan hot. I've taken the liberty of pre-portioning everything and measuring it out already. It just makes it a lot simpler when you're going to add everything to your pan. So each one of these cups has 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I also have a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to our pan. And then we're going to add in our sausage. That's the first thing that we're going to cook is the sausage. All we're doing is we're browning the sausage. When making a southern style skillet, it's important to use a spatula. You'll notice that I'm not using a spoon, I'm not using a wooden spoon. I always use a spatula. The reason being is that it's easier working with bite-sized pieces of sausage. You can pick up a large quantity at one time to turn them, as well as when we add the rest of our ingredients, when you're adding potatoes and you're cooking potatoes, you know they tend to soften and they tend to break down. If you were to use a spoon and stir, then you break the potatoes down even further. Whereas with a spatula, you can pick up a large quantity, flip it, and just let it continue to brown. Potatoes, onions, and sausage. Okay, you can see some of your sausage is starting to brown a little around the edges. All of it is cooked through. And we're going to add our potatoes and our onions, some water, and the rest of our seasoning to let it cook completely. So, next thing we're going to add to our skillet is our potatoes. We're also going to add our onions. You're going to add a half a cup of water, 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and now your seasoning. We have 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. You could also use sea salt. 1 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper. And 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now it's very important to remember, if you don't have garlic powder and you have garlic salt, you're going to want to cut the amount that you would normally use of garlic powder in half. Otherwise, you end up with a very salty dish. All right, and then once it's thoroughly stirred, you're going to add your lid back on. You're going to drop your heat to a medium-high, and you're going to check it periodically. You're going to stir it each time you check it, and what you're looking for is to see that your sausage is starting to brown and that your potatoes are starting to get soft. So while your skillet is cooking, we're going to melt some butter in the microwave or on your stovetop, whichever is easier, because we're going to get ready to make our biscuits. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 425. Place your biscuits on a baking sheet. Then you're going to brush the tops of them with butter. Once that's finished, you're going to put them into your preheated oven at 425 degrees. There you go. All right, this is finished. Your sausage has started to brown. Your onions are almost translucent. And your potatoes are nice and soft. And once your biscuits are finished, you're ready to serve. All right, so our biscuits are finished. There we go. Oh, it smells heavenly. All right. There's your southern skillet and your biscuits, and you're good to go. And there you have it. There is your southern style skillet, ready for the family. Let's take a bite. Oh, really good. Always remember, the most important ingredient in your kitchen is love. That's really good. Want some?